What have I been reading lately? Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. Today, I'm going over 5 books that I recently read. Just some, book reviews. It's about that time. Let's just jump into it. I'm not, okay, maybe I will. I'll go through them in the order that I read them. So, we're starting with Fast by Millie Belizaire. Oh, this is a book that if you're on, let me try to get a view. If you are on social media, any kind of like book side of social media, I know you've heard of this book. I know you've heard of this book. And I've been putting it off. I've had it for a few months and I just got around to reading it. And y'all, it's good. It is good. So this book is broken up into 3 parts. You have the main character, Caprice. The first part of the book, she's 8 years old. The second part of the book, she's 16. And then the third part of the book, she's 28. And this is just like kind of a coming of age story of her life. It started out very much traumatic and then dealing with that trauma and more trauma on top of that trauma and just kind of dealing with life or going through life in that way. Then her circumstances drastically change. You still got some residuals that you're dealing with. And what's that look like when you're grown, when you've accomplished the things that you set out to accomplish, but what happened to you was literally like life shattering, like multiple things, multiple traumatic events at such a young age. What does that look like? Then the main male interest, his name is Sean, and you see how it's kind of like a friends to lovers type situation. You see how their relationship develops, starts off as a cute little friendship. They had a little thing for each other, but they were young. And then how that grows into whatever it grows into. So I I don't know what I expected going in. I expected it to be good because most people said it was good. But that's where the buck stopped. Like I kept hearing about Shauna Caprice, but I didn't think, I don't know. I enjoyed this a lot. It was good. It's just as good as they said it would be. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's the first book out of these that I read. I'm really trying to go in order, y'all. Okay. Okay, I got them stacked in order now. No, I don't. Okay, now they're stacked in order. Next, I read Brave New World, a book that I've been putting off not just for months, but for years. I've been putting this book off for years. It has been on my TBR for like 3, 4, 5 years, 5 years at this point, and I'm just not reading it. But you know what? That's okay. It's okay. I have read 1984. I did a review on it before now. And a lot of people say if you like 1984, read Brave New World. I did. It is very much, it's similar in the way that it is a totalitarian society where you're told what to think, what to do, how to act. But this one is really focused on like that creating of life. It's focused on how humans are programmed out the womb. It's focused on how they come to life, like it is how the embryos are here. It comes to a point where like promiscuity is almost mandatory, how monogamy is just not a thing. It's very much like a reverse morality. That's what this book is, which is similar to like the vibe of 1984, where you're thinking like it's dystopian, where good is bad, up is down type deal. It is like that, but it is different too. This is its own unique book. If you like 1984, you probably will like this. I enjoyed it. I did like 1984 a little bit better. Maybe because I read it first. I don't know. That's not saying that this book is bad. I just like 1984 a little bit better. But yeah, totalitarian society, dystopian type society where you're pretty much told, this book is focused on programming people, adults, and from a young age, and then making them like it. Like, parents, like mama, daddy, that's no longer a thing. Okay. You have test tube that you come from, and they're being taught that this mama daddy thing and a lot of other stuff is just history. Like, it's no longer a thing. They have no personal connections. But then there's a little twist to it, kind of like 1984, where you see somebody, there's like a crack in that veil. That's what this book is about. So I enjoyed it. If you like dystopian, if you enjoyed 1984, you'll probably like this too. But yeah, that's book 2. Oh, okay. Book 3 is a heartbreaker. By the time you read this, The Space Between Cheslie's Smile and Mental Illness by Cheslie Kryst and her mother, April Simmons. This book is split into 2 parts. The majority of the book is written by Cheslie while she was still alive. And then the second portion of the book is written by her mom after she passed. If you don't know who Cheslie is, she was Miss USA. She was Miss North Carolina, a North Carolinian natively. She was a athlete. She was a commentator. She was a lot of things. She was a fashion blogger. She had a lot to say about that. She was a volunteer. She did a lot of volunteer work with Dress for Success. And she was, a role model to a lot of little girls that looked up to her. And her life ended tragically at the age of 30. It was ruled a suicide. And so you got the first part of the book that talks about her life, like leading up to her being Miss North Carolina, Miss USA, her attempt of becoming Miss Universe, talks kind of about her worldview, how she views the world, how she prepares for things. She was an attorney, and so she talked about the process of passing a bar and becoming an attorney and how she utilized that in her pageantry. She talked about success and excelling at what she did. She talked about her relationships. And the hardest part about this book is reading how much she strived for like perfection and for success and to be accomplished, and she wanted to do these things, and she knew that her wins mattered to other people. And then to like reading that and then knowing like where the story went, I think that was a heartbreaking part for me. And then so even like reading through what she was saying, to know that she was battling with like severe depression by herself, and where that led. It was hard to read, but I was glad to learn a lot about her. I'm a North Carolina native. I knew who she was. We were around the same age. I think she was a year older than me. Yeah. And so I knew who she was. I didn't know her personally now. But if you was in North Carolina and you knew she was a good athlete, she was smart. We had Miss North Carolina, Miss USA. And so I knew who she was growing up, and it was sad to read. And then her mom tried to fulfill her last wish and actually publish the book and share her perspective. And by the time I was reading her mom's stuff, I was like, man, it was a hard read. I'm glad I read it. And let me take this time to say, if you are struggling with depression, with any kind of mental illness, and you feel alone, you're not. It's people out there you could talk to. You can talk to me if you want to talk to me. Just saying. Let's move on. The next book that I read is Bad Blood, Secrets and Lies in a Silicon Valley Startup. Whew. Mind blowing. This book blew my mind. It blew my mind because I was so shocked at what this company and the founder and the president and all the other people around him got away with. If you don't know what this book is about, it is about a startup company in Silicon Valley called Theranos, and the founder and CEO of it was Elizabeth Holmes, and the president was Sonny. And this company claimed, Elizabeth and her company claimed that they were revolutionizing the blood processing process. Okay. Like, you know, when you go and you get vials of your blood taken and they run panels and test on it. Yeah, well, she was saying that all it takes is a finger prick, a little drop of blood, and they can run the same amount of panels more efficiently. It was perfect. It was revolutionary. And, you know, and this is Silicon Valley. And if you know anything about Silicon Valley, a lot of like really big companies start off there. So you have investors lining up, ready to be a part of the next big thing. This is a time where Mark Zuckerberg was taking off. This is a time where Steve Jobs was like super successful at this point. And Elizabeth Holmes actually idolized Steve Jobs. She, to a weird, creepy degree, she started like trying to beat a man in a lot of ways. But she was lying. Like the whole company was, all the claims was just lies. And it just went over this whole web of lies and lies and lies and lies and conning these people, manipulation. She didn't care about these people's health. She didn't care what your test results said. Okay, you could be healthy and it'll tell you got pancreatic cancer. You could have pancreatic cancer and it'll be like, you healthy, don't worry about it. And she was raking in the dough. Okay. Forbes actually said that she was a Forbes or Fortune. I don't know, but she was titled as the first youngest self-made woman billionaire. That's how much this company was doing numbers. Okay. And in 2024, I believe is when she started her sentence. She was sentenced to like 11-ish years in prison. The president was sentenced to like 12-ish years in prison. And I was just mind blown that I'm like, she really could get away with this. Like, conning these people. And it's a story about like how that startup culture in Silicon Valley can be. Like, you have investors that they don't want to miss out on the next best thing. So they got a fear of missing out. They have greed. Okay. And then you got this founder who, by any means necessary, she wants that power. She wants that money. And just the whole thing was crazy. I mean, like Suge Knight tactics, but in corporate America, it was crazy. So it was interesting. Okay, it's a page turner. It was a page turner. So if you are looking for a nonfiction book, check this out. If you like true crime, real life, crazy stuff. And then I was able to watch interviews of her. I was able to. There's some documentaries about this. Wild. Yeah. Lastly, y'all, the last book of the day is a thriller, and it was a gift. And if it wasn't a gift, I wouldn't have read it. Because I halfway through, I was like, okay, I'm done with this book. But I finished it out of pure gratitude. That's it. That's the only reason. It's called No One Can Know. Okay. It wasn't bad. It's just by the midpoint of the book, I already had what I wanted to get from it. It was just okay. And I could have been done at the middle, but I was trying to be appreciative of the gift I was given. And yeah, what this book is about is it's this group of sisters. They grew up in this wealthy household. Their parents had money, and a tragedy strikes at a young age. They leave, they go their separate ways as sisters. Well, one of the sisters comes back home to her childhood home. Let me make sure this ain't a spoiler. This one part I'm about to tell you. Okay, yes, their parents were killed. It's not a spoiler. Their parents were killed. That's kind of how it starts off. And then the sisters go their separate ways. But then one sister comes back to her childhood home in town, and then it just goes over like what she has to deal with when she comes back there. Unresolved trauma, people gossiping, trying to uncover the truth, who did what, and it wasn't bad. It just wasn't good to me like that either. It was just okay. It was okay. And that's all I gotta say about that. It's a thriller. Could have been better, but not the worst thing I've ever read. So Yeah. That's it for today, y'all. Let me know if you want to read any of these, if you have. I feel like this is a good little bunch, a good little mixture. My worst one, if I had to pick out of the bunch, would definitely be this. But the other ones, it's kind of hard to rank. They were all good for different reasons. So this one will be at the bottom, but the other ones, they're good in their own right. So I don't want to like rank those. But yeah, that's it for today, y'all. I'm gonna see y'all on the next one.